What's ghouling on, my funky fiends? It's me, here in the Creature Corner, the Grand Duke of Spook, Chris Bell. How's everybody doing out there? I hope it's going good. Hope it's going good here on a Monday night. Oh shit. So, yeah, double checking the video feed looks good. All right. Everything looks good. Look at us, and we're off. Sipping out of my Creature Corner mug here, sitting in my Creature Corner hoodie. Heck yeah, both coming from our wonderful friends over at Pin-Based Peculiars. Thanks a lot, Pin-Based Peculiars. And tonight, we're supping on some delicious Pedal Java coffee here in the Creature Corner mug. It's a perfect combination. Coffee and creatures. Here we go. Oh, I'm also going to start editing a new creature case files video tonight, and hopefully getting that out tomorrow. But for tonight, let's talk about the movie that has just come out and come to my attention called The Retaliators. They sent me the screener link for this a while back, and I had watched it and just got a little behind on things, so I never really got to do the live review of it. So I recapped it today, rewatched it today so I could do the review tonight, and here we go. So this is your official spoiler alert, whatever. Spoiler alert. I am about to release pretty much every key detail of this movie over the video. I'm going to talk all about it. So if you have any interest in not having this movie spoiled for you, if you haven't seen it yet, maybe watch this video after. Maybe go watch The Retaliators first, and then you can come back and watch this video. If you have, however, seen The Retaliators, go ahead and, join along and comment. Or if you don't care if it's going to get spoiled for you, comment along. Maybe it'll make you want to watch it even more. I don't know. Let's get into it and have a good time. So, for starters, the way that they describe this movie, the synopsis for the movie is like a... I had it pulled up here, and I'm going to pull it back up. The synopsis is: a pastor uncovers a dark and twisted underworld as he searches for answers surrounding his daughter's brutal murder. Okay? So that's what you're getting into here, is a dad revenge flick, you think. So real quick, we're going to pop over. We're going to check out the trailer for this bad boy. Here we go, the trailer for The Retaliators.
Verse 3. Here's a parable about a woman seeking vengeance for a wrongdoer who victimized her and then escaped justice. But Jesus tells us, when a sinner goes unpunished, he is only free from man's law. When man's law fails, God's law prevails.
Mr. Bishop! No! Hold it! No!
Mr. Bishop, Detective Sawyer, I'm sorry about your loss, Pastor. Don't think this was a case of road rage. Sarah was found with her hands zip-tied to the steering wheel. I'm acquainted with this sort of hurt. I know the futility.
How'd you get through it?
I got healed.
How?
I'm going to tell you about an opportunity I'll...
Okay, apparently that video is just going to make my computer explode. So, let's back off on that for a second. Good Lord. Okay. So, what you just saw there in most of the trailer is this preacher that has lost his daughter. I don't know, let's just go from the beginning. Let's just start at the beginning and go from there, since the trailer is just, ooh, that is a hot mess over here on my end. We don't want that. Definitely, the movie itself is definitely better quality than what that trailer just looked like. That's my fault. I don't know. Whatever's happening over here needs to just cut it out. Why are we lagging so hard? There we go. Okay, we got it back. Sorry, everybody. I almost I don't know what happened there. We almost blew a fuse here at the Creature Corner. Okay. So, the Retaliators, we kick off with it's kind of all over the place for me. The overall storyline. It's there's a few different plots that are going on during the movie, and they kind of interlace with each other. But for the most part, it's very jumpy as to where you are in time. Flashbacks and stuff just kind of happen, and for me, I had a hard time following when they were in a flashback and when they weren't. Now, I will say the cinematography in this film was fantastic. A lot of the acting in it was really good. The story itself was really good. For me, it just seemed kind of like a missed opportunity. With the jumping of the tones of the movie, it very drastically will jump from being a very dramatic, dark film straight into being almost like Evil Dead horror comedy, which is great. But for me, I need you to go in one of those directions and not be jumping between the two, because I have emotions that you're playing with. So, just real quick, I gotta touch on the brutal murder of his daughter. Okay. So, the very tall, bald gentleman that you saw skipping through the trailer there, that is looking at the young girl at the gas station, that's pretty much what happens. She's at a gas station. She overhears some commotion in the guy's trunk because the guy has a body in the trunk. So he starts chasing her because she overheard the body in the guy's trunk. There's a whole like drug war that's going on, like these meth dealers that are competing. One of the meth gangs is Five Finger Death Punch, which the whole movie has a lot of cameos from some huge names in rock and nu metal and stuff like that. Jacoby from Papa Roach is a big player in it. Like I said, Five Finger Death Punch. Motley Crue did music for it. Tommy Lee Jones is in the film too. Tommy Lee, not Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee's in the film. Really, it was a fun movie. If you're watching it for it to be a fun, action-y movie, definitely. When they sent it to me as a total gore fest, is what they described it to me as. I've seen gorier movies, definitely. It had its moments when the practical effects were really, really good. And some of those practical effects kind of got... They lost their luster because of a kind of goofy sound effect or something that wound up going with this amazing practical effect. I've never been more afraid of Five Finger Death Punch than I was in this movie. There were a bunch of scary drug meth dealers that, for whatever reason, also just kind of dress like they do all the time. They just look like Five Finger Death Punch. So, and okay, so the way the girl died, the way that the daughter is killed. So we follow up. Okay, the tall, bald guy works for Five Finger Death Punch in the meth gang. So he is taking out the competition when the little girl at the gas station overhears the fact that he has kidnapped someone in his trunk. Now, this guy bought a deluxe value size bag of zip ties. Don't worry. So there were no shortage of zip ties for this guy to use to tie up assailants, different people. He went for the big bag. Good for him. I guess this review is going to be all over the place because the movie timeline itself was also all over the place. It starts with two girls on the side of the road. They're broke down. They're trying to fix up a van. They're trying to fix their van when the van gets attacked by these crazy mutant-looking people. And then this guy shows up and he cuts the head off one of them, and he opens the back door. He's like, "We got to get out of here." And they're like, she's like, "There's zombies." He's like, "They're not zombies." And then he gets drug under this van, and you see the girl getting attacked in the van, and then the movie just kind of starts. And it was like, they're not zombies. They're Five Finger Death Punch fans. No. So we get now to the point where the drug dealer man is chasing the daughter, which we find out is the preacher's daughter. So here we go, preacher's daughter. There was a scene earlier in the movie where the preacher gets punked out at a Christmas tree farm because he's a good guy, but there's a whole point, I guess, to come back to where he gets tough at the end. But guy is chasing daughter down the road in his fancy muscle car. He's got like a fairly newish Camaro, maybe 2009, 2010 Camaro, that he's chasing this girl down in, and he causes her to wreck. He wrecks the preacher's daughter. She's all disheveled and out of it. And she sits up and she's like, and he busts the window out coming after her. He then zip ties her hands to the steering wheel. I had to go back and watch this part of the movie several times because I had to make sure I didn't miss something and I wasn't being a dick. But I did not, in fact, miss something. It seems they left a little something out. Maybe they didn't. So they zip tie girl's hands to the steering wheel. He then just kind of pushes the car. He just starts pushing it towards this little lake area that's right in front of her. Seemed to me like she just wrecked her car. Now I don't mean to pick this apart, but this was a huge driving point behind the movie. The fact that his daughter was brutally murdered. So, zip-tied hands, she crashed the car. All the guy did was bust the window out, open the door, he goes to get her, and she, like, scratches him. And he punches her, and then zip-ties her hands to the wheel. At no point does he reach into the car and put the car in neutral. The car should have still been in drive if she just wrecked the car, rendering it very much impossible to just kind of push with the car off. Okay, besides all that, as he's pushing the car towards the water, and she's going, no, and she's super scared that she's about to die and drown, at no point does she just kind of like turn the wheel. Like, your hands are attached to the wheel. You could just kind of turn it, I feel like. And he didn't bind her legs. Why didn't she just hit the brakes? She just very slowly rolls into this pond lake area and drowns there. Like, you didn't even try to stop. You didn't try to... So I had to go back several times and make sure, okay, did he strap her legs together or something? Did he cut the brake lines? Is there an extended director's cut of this film where he did a lot more to the vehicle before what we see in this cut of it? I don't know. Many questions were asked here, but his daughter becomes murdered. She's murdered in the lake. It's very sad. I don't know why she didn't hit the brakes. I don't know why she didn't try to turn the wheel, but anywho. So now the preacher is on a path of revenge. He needs to find out who did this. So he starts talking to this detective, and the detective's going around. The detective is the cast itself is actually, there's some big players in it. There's some big names in it, and some good acting. But then the kind of the script itself and the way the story goes. So he meets the detective guy who tells him, he starts helping him with his case, and he really starts feeling for him. So he tells him, he goes, what if I could give you just 1 minute with the guy? Just 1 minute with the guy that did this to your daughter. Would you take it? And he's like, yeah, I would. I'll take that. So the detective, who is a full-time detective solving crimes, busting criminals, and beating mysteries, has in his spare time after the death of his wife, who was killed and murdered by Jacoby from Papa Roach. Papa Roach and Five Finger Death Punch are very scary people in this film. So the detective catches old Jacoby murdering his wife. He gets his wife murdered by Papa Roach. and then dedicates all of his free time after that to building a labyrinth-style dungeon under his house for the purpose of capturing extreme criminals. And instead of making them face the justice system, he basically tortures them in his basement and turns them into feral human beings. So that's kind of the first glimpse that you get that something at the beginning of the movie when he says, "Oh, they're not zombies." Okay, so they're the mutant humans that the detective has been keeping under his house. Got it. There is still a drug war going on. The meth dealers and the five-finger death punch people are still very mad at each other. They're coming at each other from every which way. Oh, because the five-finger death punch people are looking for his brother to assemble the fourth finger of the five-finger death punch so that their powers will be complete. Okay, so the preacher, he's not into the whole, okay, there we go. So the detective takes the preacher into the detective's labyrinth basement that he built in his spare time with limited funds from Home Depot, and goes and he shows him where he has the guy locked up that killed his daughter. He's like, there he is. Okay, Bishop, I won't look. Go ahead. Go over there and, you got a minute with him. Murder this, beat this dude up. Whatever you need to do. I got weapons over here. I got tools and things. Go at it. And Bishop backs out at the last music. I can't do it. So then the detective can't trust him to keep his secret. So he gives him an old karate chop and kind of locks him into like a wheelchair in the dungeon that he built in his spare time, while also the drug war's going on upstairs and everything else. So he starts showing off his feral people. He's like, here's all my feral people. I also make these feral people fight each other to make their life hell. And he's describing what each person has done, and while like this one sold their daughter to a child molester for $400, and this one did this, and this one did that. Hey, what happened? So, anywho, sorry. Five-finger death punch shows up to the detective's house. Yeah. He's looking for the people, and they get killed off pretty quick. Five-finger death punch does, by the feral people, because old Bishop, he gets himself loose. He gets himself freed from the tyrannies of the detective, and he lets loose the feral people. So the feral people, they overpower Five-finger death punch. They take him out one finger at a time. And so the next thing you know, now the feral people are running amok. They're running all over the place outside of the dungeon. They've made their way out of the dungeon, and we make our way back to where the whole movie started. Now we see the guy making his way up to the road where the girls are sitting, fixing their tire up, when he's like, "Oh, we got to get out of here. They're not zombies," and then he gets attacked. So it shows him being attacked, being drug off. He fights his way away from the mutants. He beats them all up real good, and pretty much ends all that, and then uses that as some teachings in his sermons. And he's like, oh yeah, and he's got another daughter that he raises. But the big bald guy that tried to kill his daughter, they have a big epic fight at the end. He so ridiculously, they're like boxing. He's trying to fight him in the front yard, and he's trying to square up to him, and then you just see him get thrown through the window of the house. It's a really silly fight scene with and this is, you know, where it starts to get you get your very Evil Dead-ish comedy horror that comes into it, and it is a fun action movie. It was a fun watch. It was just a little all over the place for me in terms of tone and just, you know, what the tone it was trying to follow. Was it a serious thriller? Was it this campy kind of horror movie? I would have taken either or, but not both at the same time. When you've got all these different plots going on, plus the tone shifts, it makes it a little difficult from time to time to follow. But I've seen a lot of people really did enjoy it. So, you know, what the hell do I know? Don't take my word for it. Go watch The Retaliators for yourself. It's out all over the place right now, and it is a good flick. You know, it was a fun watch. It's got a cool soundtrack behind it. Lots of musicians and rock musicians put their work into it. I think Motley Crue, who did the 21 Guns song. Oh, the movie that I'm talking about, Brandon, is The Retaliators, which is yeah. It was an odd one, and it was a lot. And the gore fest aspect of it, like, and when I say the Evil Dead stuff, like, literally there's shots and scenes of him with his face all covered in blood, very reminiscent of the Bruce Camp. You know, I feel like it was almost some like homages to the fact that thank you Thankar for that like and share, appreciate that. Yeah, so The Retaliators, it was okay. It was a decent movie, very well shot, very well edited. I liked the cinematography in it. I loved the practical effects in it, and a lot of the acting was really good from some pretty big name stars that they were able to cast in it. But there was a lot of plot points that really fell short for me. It was the tone shifts were really sharp and hard to keep up with, which was kind of jarring at times watching the movie. So it was, I don't know. The whole thing ends with a big, like, campy dad punch out moment where he shows his daughter now that he is a tough guy from when he got punked out at the beginning of the movie at the Christmas tree lot. They're in like a batting cage, and Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is like, hey bro, my kid's over here swinging, okay? And he's like, hang on baby, pow, one punch to your nose and I knock you out. So, you know, I feel like I really liked the plot line of the detective having kind of a vigilante type thing going on where he was capturing the worst of the worst criminals and keeping them under his house in a basement and making them fight each other and turning them to feral human beings. You could have just kept that plot right there. You didn't have to go into the whole dad revenge thing and the meth dealers that are fighting each other and all that needing to come together. I don't know. Seems like you tried to do too much in this movie. You could have split this movie into two separate movies and I think had just as good of a time with it. But what do I know? I'm not a filmmaker of high budget movies. I don't know Motley Crue. Tommy Lee doesn't answer my phone calls, so you know, who's to say I'm doing something right? That's just my take on it. That's just my opinion. And I'll never understand why his daughter didn't just hit the brakes in the car or try to turn the wheel. I don't know. So, you know, The Retaliators, it was a cool one. If you want to check it out, it at times it's very dramatic and dark, and then at other times it's super campy, fun comedy horror. So yeah, I had a good time kind of laughing about it and watching the cool fight scenes. They were really well choreographed. There was a lot of good things in the movie, and then there was just a lot of places where it missed the mark. But, you know, hey, I'm here to give honest reviews. Didn't mean you made a bad movie, and some other people might really, really like it. Just wasn't necessarily my flavor. So, keep sending me those movies. Filmmakers, keep sending me things, and I'll give you my honest opinion on them. Don't you want honest opinions? I need a little more clarity, especially when you say the man's daughter was brutally murdered, as to why she didn't just hit the brakes. Just hit the brakes next time. Just hit the brakes. So, like, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and keep those eyes peeled right here on the Creature Corner for more creepy content, movie reviews. We've got, like I said, the Creature Case Files episode that's going to be coming out hopefully tomorrow with a brand new frightening creature. I can't even call this one a cryptid because it is under the definition of frightening critter. Fearsome critter. There we go. Fearsome critter. So, like, share, subscribe, and stay right here for more ghoulishly good content coming at you. Until the next time, be sure to keep those eyes peeled, my funky fiends, because there's always more coffee, more creepy, and more kooky ghouling on in the Creature Corner. Boo-bye. Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff. Oh, yeah.